What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm showing you how to fly in Battlefield 2042. It's super easy once you get the hang of it. Here we go. Okay, the first thing you're going to want to do is go in your settings and change your throttle up and throttle down from W and S, which is horrible, to space, and either I use E for throttle down. You may want to use control. Something that you don't have to move any of your yaw fingers or anything. If you want to keep it W and S, you can. I just think it's way more intuitive to have your flight controls like in every other game, which is normally space for up and control for down. I use E for down, but I'm a weirdo. So now that we've gotten that out of the way and you have fixed that, let us begin. So throttle up is pressing the space bar, and what that's going to do is throttle you up. If your rotor, which is the propeller, is facing upwards, right, you're going to go up because that's where your throttle's facing. If you face it to the side, you're going to fly to the side, right? Face it down, you're going to go, if you face it forward and down, you're going to go forwards, right? So think of it this way: your space bar, your throttle up, is your gas pedal, it's your accelerator, but where you go is your mouse, and that's controlling. It should be inverted by default. I think inverted is the best way to fly a heli. I think it's the most intuitive for me. Maybe that's just because that's the way I've been flying, but inverted is good. If you don't put a throttle on it, you're just going to go nowhere. I could face this way, but I'm not really going to do anything until I add power. Spacebar throttle is the power, mouse is the direction. Imagine you're riding a tandem bicycle. The person in the back is just pedaling while the person in the front is steering. So now that you have that down, practice flying around. Just I'm in a solo game, so that no one bothers me while I do this, and you should do the same thing. Go get in a solo game so you don't have to wait, to use the heli, and you're not inconveniencing anybody. And just fly around, right? Try to control your speed. Make sure that you can control exactly where you're going. And once you get the hang of, once you get the hang of actually knowing where you're going and going where you want to go, then you can try to, do more maneuvers that are more risky. Cut corners as close as you can. Try to fly to the limits of the aircraft. Like, see how close you can get to the ground before you die. That's a good way to improve your skill. How close can I get to these obstacles without hitting them? That's going to help you a lot. So this whole time I've been holding down the throttle. I have not let go of it. Whoa, lag at all, pretty much. Because you don't really need to when you're just flying around. The only time, well, there's a few times when I'm going to let go of the throttle. And that's when I want to descend. If I want to descend really fast, I'll throttle down. But normally just letting go of the throttle is enough for you to descend pretty decently. So like I'm letting go of the throttle there so I can descend a little bit. I'm back on with enough time to catch myself before I hit the ground, right? So if I want to go down, I just let go, right? And I'm back on the throttle facing forward. In the heli, you have to angle down to go forward, right? And the farther you angle down, the faster you go forward. So if I go this far down, I'm going faster, but you're going towards the ground at that point. So you can't go all the way down or you will hit your face in the dirt and die. So there's that, right? So on the throttle, I'm angling down a little bit so that I go forward, but not so much that I face plant. You don't want to overcorrect. So you'll learn over time, what the right amount of input is, and you'll get the hang of it. It just takes some time to practice. It's not something you just get right away. Okay, so when you're flying around, it's a little bit easier to fly in third person if you don't have to do any, precision maneuvers, right? If you're just flying around, third person is good because you can see everything. You can acquire a target. And then as soon as you want to do something precise, go back to first person mode so that you get a little, better sense of what's happening in the pilot seat. Because if you're in third person mode, your camera's not moving with the aircraft. So you're not gonna, you might think you made one input when and then you might run into a wall or something because it either wasn't enough or it was too much. Whereas if you're first person, you're going to feel exactly what's going on. It's going to be a lot better. As soon as you acquire a target, you need to switch to first person to shoot at it. You don't have to, but it's way more accurate, so I would definitely suggest doing that, you know. So in general, third person for casual flying. You know, if I'm looking around, I'm like, I'm going to fly around in third person, right? Okay, there's a dude. So when I come back around, I'm in first person now to shoot at him. You know, say he was there. I don't know where he is anymore, but... And then I'm back out so that I can look around again, because you really need to be aware of your surroundings when you're flying around the battlefield. There could be an Apache above you, and those really are what kill little birds a lot because, you know, they can lock onto you with missiles, and you only have one countermeasure to use, so use it wisely. Okay, so that's kind of the basics of just how to fly around the battlefield. Okay, so let's say I know how to fly and I'm ready to start trying to kill people. All right, I would still suggest trying this out in a bot lobby before, you know, going into the actual action. You want to fly around until you find someone. Like, if you're in the Little Bird, which I suggest you do this in the Little Bird at first because it's the easiest thing to fly by far. Once you find a target, just remember that your targets are all going to be on the ground, right? Because your targets are infantry, like this guy. When you aim down, you're going to be going towards the ground. And if you stay like that for too long, you'll hit the ground and you'll die. And that would be bad. So, can I make this? Oh, you can make that. That's crazy. So you want to make sure you get some altitude before you're like, okay, now I'm too low, right? Luckily I got the kill in time, but don't get stuck on the target, you know? Like, don't just fire away, like, because you'll lose it. You'll be like, oh, frick, I'm too low, but by that time it's too late. So pay attention to your altitude as you're firing at your target, and make sure you pull up, even if you haven't gotten the kill, pull up before it's too late. You don't always have to shoot at someone, right? You don't have to shoot at them when they're right directly below you, right? That's actually not a good idea. Like, you can, once you get pretty good at flying, you can do that. But you want to shoot at them more vertically like this because you're not worried about crashing into the ground. Right, I'm just hovering. But keep in mind, the slower and more hovery you get, the better of a target you are for everyone else, and you're more likely you are to be shot down. Like, if I'm hovering like this, you're dead. So what you want to do is fly in at a little bit of an altitude and do strafing runs, just like you're a fighter jet, but you're going to do it on a slower scale. You know, more quick passes like this, and then you're out. Alright, you take a few shots. Where's a dude? Where's a dude? No one's there, so, you know, that's fine. I'll go back around. So there's my guy. Fire. Throttle up. Boom. Okay, so what you're doing is, let's say this rock up here is my target. I'm on target. I take my hands off the throttle to fire, and then I'm back on the throttle to get away. Alright? Acquire a target, off the throttle, back on the throttle. Because if you're on the throttle while you're looking down, you're going to be going towards the ground a lot faster. Whereas, like, you can tell, watch, I'll tell you when I let go. Boom, I let go. And you can see how slow I'm going. And it makes it a lot easier to recover yourself before you're... Whereas if I'm just going like this, like, I don't really have a chance to do anything, right? So, off the throttle, on the throttle. Alright, so here's a good teaching moment. Don't try to shoot out other helis with your anti-infantry. Where'd he go? Go to third person to find him. Don't try to shoot other helis with your anti-personnel rockets. What is he doing? Freaking bots trying to fly helis. You want to shoot at them with the miniguns, because the rockets aren't really gonna, like, they'll do damage, but you're not gonna hit them. You know, like their bullet velocity is too slow. So shoot them with the miniguns. With a Little Bird, you want to be as far away as possible while maintaining accuracy. As far away as you can while still hitting the target. Whoever wins a Little Bird fight is whoever can hit the other person farther away, right? Something like an Apache, what you want to do is get as close as you possibly can, because you want to get inside their missile range. If they have a missile lock on you, all you can do is run away. Try to get behind some solid cover, because as soon as you use your one flare, your one countermeasure, you're dead. You know, you have to escape at that point. But if you can get inside their missile range, then you can just pummel them with your miniguns, and they can't do pretty much anything about it. You're more maneuverable. You know, you want to be above them. Make sure you're above them because they have that gunner, right? So make sure you're above and, you know, swiveling around them, shooting them with the miniguns inside the missile range. Same thing with a transport. So that's kind of the deal with aircraft. If it's a jet, then you're kind of just screwed if they're any good. But if it's a jet, just try to stay low to the ground, right? That's kind of the key with the Little Bird anyway, I think. When I'm in the Little Bird, I try to stay as low as possible. There's no reason for you to be up, like you're an infantry killer, right? You're not there to fight other aircraft. You're there to kill the infantry. So stay as low as you can be to the battlefield, while still, you know, being at a safe distance. Because it's low, high-speed passes is what your goal is going to be. Because if you're going too slow, you're going to get shot out by rocket launchers. And if you're too high, you're going to attract things like jets and Apaches, and that's going to be no good for you. So low and fast. That's kind of going to be your motto as a Little Bird pilot. You know, so this is why you work on this stuff. Work on your high-speed, low to the ground maneuvering. It's super responsive, so like I can get super close to that thing and not have to worry about it, right? And you can change direction on a dime. You see, just like, boom, change direction. I'm totally good. So that's the basics of Little Bird piloting. Some maneuvering tips that may help you. There's a couple ways to turn, okay? Yaw is right to left like this. All right? You don't want to use that. You don't want to turn like this. It's super slow and pretty useless. But you can use it in conjunction with your pitch, which is your mouse, you know, all of this is your pitch. So, okay, I'm throttling forward. Let's say I need to do a 180. I'm gonna yaw left and pitch left and throttle and turn around, right? Same with the right. I'm gonna yaw right and pitch right and turn around. You don't always have to, like if I'm flying in a straight line, but I just want to do some evasive little things like this, I'm not yawing at all. You don't need to yaw. I'm just yawing when I want to make a dramatic turn. Right? See, it just basically increases the drama of the turn, and that's good for fast maneuvering. There's kind of two turns that you can make, right? There's an inside turn and an outside turn. The inside turn is a normal one, okay? So if I'm going to turn to the left, the rotor is on the inside of the turn. Okay, simple. Normal turn. An outside turn, these are my terms, I don't know what it's actually called, but it just makes sense to me, right? The outside turn is I'm turning to the left again, but my rotor is on the outside of the turn, right? And that's a way to keep your momentum kind of going in the way that you were traveling in the first place. The inside turn is like, I want to turn back around and go that way, okay? Inside turn, I'm going back. Outside turn is like, I'm just going past you, and I'm going to strafe you from over here. Both are good turns. Different situations call for different maneuvers. Like, I find myself doing outside turns when I want to keep my momentum going. Like, you can outside turn, inside turn, and you can keep your momentum going, like, this whole way, right? It's just a double 180, but it's faster than doing, like, a loop-de-loop, right? Like a 360 like this, like I'm looking behind me, now I'm looking forward. It's faster than, you know, I'm doing a little 360 like that. It's a little bit scary. So I'm yawing to the left, and I'm going sideways, you know. It's kind of hard to explain since I'm not a pilot and I have no idea what these actual terms are. Boom. Back to the inside turn. So that's a maneuver you can practice, and that'll help you, you know, get more fluid with your flight mechanics. But yeah, so that's that. Off the throttle, fire away, back on the throttle. Your accuracy will get better over time, so you just keep practicing, you know. This is a fun map to practice on because there's a lot of obstacles that are fun to kind of fly through while you get the hang of flying. Ow, dude. Like over here on this point, it's fun, like, adjust your throttle as you need to, right? Like, you can, it helps you learn to, like, here's another one. Woohoo, that was close. See, but if I had used my yaw to turn there, I wouldn't actually change the direction I'm traveling. Like, I yaw, but I'm still going to the same direction. I'm headed to this tree. If I yaw, I'm still headed to the tree. It's not until I change my pitch that I actually change my direction. Your yaw is just kind of helping you adjust, you know, the more exact way you're doing it. Go around, practice, make sure your yaw inputs are correct, your pitch inputs are correct, and then your throttle inputs are correct as well. See, I'm like bouncing the throttle here because I'm staying close to the ground at a kind of low speed. I'm bouncing it. I'm not full on the throttle, but on a keyboard there's no in between, right? It's just full throttle or nothing. So you tap it, you know. I'm going down, I let go of the throttle, I'm back on the throttle, let go, I'm back on, let go, back on, let go, back on, you know, and so forth. I use my yaw to adjust my aim all the time. Let me demonstrate it. So say that crane is the target, right? I'm a little off to the right, I yaw to the left. I'm a little off to the right, I use that as my horizontal aimer, kind of. Because using pitch at that point, it's going to be really difficult. Like if I try to use pitch, here you go. Like I can mostly only go up and down because you have to adjust and then pull up to go actually to the left. Whereas if you use your yaw inputs, it's much quicker. So hopefully this is helpful and not just convoluted garbage, but let me know in the comments if this is helpful for you. Let me know if this made things simpler or more complicated. I don't know. This is kind of the way I think about it, and I like to think I have it down pretty good. So for you beginners, let me know how you did. Let me know what helped. Let me know what didn't. So yeah, there's your, you know, your basic flight mechanics. Easy peasy, perfect timing victory. I'll see you later.